Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back for the last episode of Decidedly Vanilla Season 4. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I hope, like me, you have found the wait for 1.13's arrival to be not too tough, not too challenging. It's been a while since we thought we were going to get 1.13, but today, on the day I'm recording this, it should hopefully, according to all of the news we have heard, be coming out really, really soon. So this is going to be the last episode I will make from the Decidedly Vanilla Season 4 server. As we've mentioned in previous videos, we are resetting for Season 5 in 1.13, the Aquatic update. We are leaving this server behind and moving on to a brand new world. So what I wanted to do for this episode is kind of do a bit of a tour of the stuff that I built on the server. Obviously, I won't be able to tour everybody else's stuff because while some of it is around here and is looking absolutely fantastic, I don't want to get things wrong with who built what. I don't know exactly where everybody else's base is on the server, and I can only really talk about the stuff that I've been a part of. So we're going to fly down here and we're going to talk a little bit about the stuff that I built at Sea Haven. And Sea Haven turned out to be quite a kind of prescient name for what was to come, because we built this place around a little kind of harbor sort of thing over here on this lovely lake leading out into the sea, and we have a customized sea level on this world, so we wanted a little bit deeper oceans and a little bit more accessible land by boat, and that turned out to be a remarkable piece of foresight for the update that was about to come out, because as you know, 1.13 is all about the ocean content. It's all about improving the seas and including a little bit more life in the oceans. There is so much going on. Kane83's house seems to be filled with chickens. I have no idea why. I think I might even have started that at some point. I don't remember. But anyway, this is the lovely town of Sea Haven. We started out building over here. We kind of built our starter houses and stuff over here. We sort of arrived on the server just over that hill over there, just over the mountain range in the distance via Core's spaceship. And then we made our way to this little place where we wanted to settle down. This is a Wooger's house, has a grave for a sheep out the front. And you will remember from episode maybe 2 or 3 of this season of Decidedly Vanilla, that roof was at one point a poop with a top hat. It's a fantastic roof now. I think Mythical Sausage helped him out with that. But that was one of my proudest moments on the server, I think, was turning his roof into a poop emoji. When he said poop would do, and I made poop happen. But over there, on the opposite side, you can see the the similarly swirly roof of my little starter house over here, which I'm going to row over to maybe with the boat over here. I need to get used to rowing because 1.13 is going to be a pretty boat-heavy update. Oh, hello. there's a zombie wearing a pumpkin who we still have not quite dispatched. Yeah, he seems to be having a fun time over there on the lake with his chicken. We will leave him there. So this was my starter house. This was the first house I built. I kind of wanted to go for a little kind of pixie hut sort of style, and this was going to become Pixie Island. And it immediately got filled with guardians. So I say immediately. That didn't happen for a little while once I'd moved out of there and was no longer using it as a starter house. I still don't remember if I put these furnaces here or if somebody else did. But yeah, this was my little area. This was going to be a little bit bigger of a project before I went out to the jungle and found myself a jungle biome to build in. But I still managed to build myself another house up here that was kind of the second base house that I decided to build here. And this is my one Chunk Treehouse design, actually built on a server because I got into the habit of building a few of my one Chunk designs on the server. This place has always remained fairly basic. In terms of the vibe and stuff, it's kind of cool to have everything in this forest canopy and to be able to look out over Sea Haven, especially this view from the balcony. I've always really, really enjoyed looking out over here and seeing the town develop as it goes. But the inside of this is really nothing special. It had enough furnaces that I could smelt a little bit of stuff. It had some storage for anything I wanted to leave around here, especially when I'd been getting some meat from the cow farm here. I left all of the leather and stuff in here. There's a bunch of stone, a few building materials, stuff like that for when I wanted to do projects around here, but really nothing super special. And it's concealed quite nicely in the leaves of the forest canopy over there, so it really doesn't look all that much until you get in closer and you can see that the whole thing has been built up. So I had a few projects around here other than my house, which I'm very, very happy with. Number one being when KB wanted something built around his portal and he was thinking something like a giant skull, so I thought I would deliver that, and this was a time-lapse in one of my earlier episodes of DV. You can go back and find that. It's probably in the thumbnail. But we had built this bridge over the top of here with the kind of rib cage structure that it has with bone blocks, because I think at the time bone blocks had been added in the previous season of DV, but we really wanted to use more of them, and he had a skeleton farm in there, so it seemed like the perfect thing to do. And I thought I would embellish that with some white concrete and some quartz and turn this into a dragon skull, which is still one of my favorite things I've built on this server, actually. I thought anatomically we got this down pretty well. It's not perfect, not a perfect skull, but it is still pretty cool looking, even from the front as well. These things tend to lose their depth a little bit when you look at them from the front, but I think we got the inside of the mouth right there, the nether portal placement, the herbs growing in the teeth. I thought that was pretty cool. And to extend that, Nashcrafter and I worked on this little kind of prehistoric boneyard kind of area in a collab that we had. It was my first real collab with Nash, and yeah, it was a good time. We had a lot of fun, and we made this little kind of dinosaur egg nest kind of thing, all these little slime pools and whatnot, and I thought this area turned out real nice. I was hoping that a few people would expand on this as we went, if people would develop this area a little bit more, but maybe that's a theme we can work with in future. Maybe we can kind of do something like this on a little bit of a bigger scale ourselves. Who can say? So many great builds around here now, though. I think some of these are Mythical Sausages builds. He does really great stuff in like a medieval sort of rustic style. That's very, very cool. And I'm trying to think what else I worked on over here. I did a little bit of stuff on the farm. Of course, this windmill is mine. That's a thought. That's another one of my one chunk designs that we made here. And the clock tower over there is also one of mine. So once this wheat field kind of expanded a little bit, I thought it would be a good idea to have a windmill in here. Nothing special, once again, in the interior. This is basically just the design itself, but nobody was really going to use that for anything. It was really just an aesthetic thing to make the landscape look like it had the infrastructure, make it look like the wheat field was being ground up into flour somewhere so we could all bake our bread. We've got a lovely little animal barn over there. Cirque and Thumper's house, I believe, we're over there. We haven't seen Thumper for a little while, but I think he is busy with work and such like. There's a fast concrete machine in here. Very cool. Haven't really used that a whole bunch. Cirque's Dynasium. We've made a fair amount of purchases from there over the time. And I like the fact that the community enchanting setup never really got a house. It just kind of stayed out here in the middle of nowhere. But by that time, I think this place was lit up enough that nobody was worried too much about blowing the stuff up. The clock tower I built in a stream with Awooga, and we always intended, actually, to build a town hall kind of around this, but that never really came to fruition either. There were so many other people building at the time. There's Pix and Kane. Seek thine signs. In the passage beneath the house of meat lies the clue that will guide you beyond the lagoon, across which resides the dragon egg of doom. BJ left a bit of a treasure hunt for us to find the dragon egg, based on some stuff I'd said in my previous episode about wanting to kind of sneak up and do like a heist and get the dragon egg off of BJ. He kind of left a trail for us to follow, but Kane and I unfortunately have been so busy over the last little while that we've not really had a chance to collaborate on something like this. You know, we've always kind of missed each other one way or the other. So sorry, BJ, that we never got to do this. I really hope you didn't put like a huge amount of work into it, but maybe we will come back and do that. Maybe it's something that you guys can do if you download this world, because the world download for this season of Decidedly Vanilla should be made available on our website at decidedlyvanilla.com at some point. So hopefully you guys will be able to track that down, and that way you can grab the dragon egg for yourselves. A scavenger hunt for you guys, because Kane and I sadly did not have the time. This is one of the other things I did here at Spawn when I was doing my emerald exchange, because I still have a thing for emerald ore, guys. I've even got some in my inventory right now because I'm still fresh from the collab with Awooga as far as my inventory goes. So we still have a little bit of emerald ore on hand. The fountain rewards you with 3 emeralds, which is better than the rates you'll get with fortune. I do kind of wonder if anybody has left any more emerald ore in here, so I will quickly hop down here and take a look. Nope, looks like people are done using it, which is fine because I was done using it as well once I'd acquired enough emerald ore that I could make my emerald beacon over in the jungle, which if you're not familiar with that, we're going to be heading over that way right now to check out what I did at my jungle. Because the jungle was basically the main project for this series. It was a base that I established quite early and built a lot of my favorite things that I've ever built over there. So we're going to head over there right now and take a quick look. I guess we may as well go via the train station, because that's something I was planning to work on. It's something that I had the ideas for from a while back, but again, sadly, I never really found the time to do this or the patience because it involved a lot of building. I will hop up here and show you kind of what was going on here. So I had these arched roofs that I was building. You can't really see that all that well, but a lot of that is filled in with glass, and I was trying to work all of this into this series of arches, which I think came together pretty well. I think this is all pretty well covered right now. But then once I removed all of this, I was still having to remove an awful lot of lava, and that was very time consuming and wasn't the kind of stuff that I would just put in a regular episode. And I wasn't really sure how to incorporate all of the existing tunnels and stuff that people had already built off of the Nether Hub. So that never really came together either, which I feel really bad about. I feel like this thing, I mean, it's been functional and it's been, it's been there for people to use throughout the entire thing. We had this station platform idea that I thought was really quite nice, and I managed to fill in all of the bottom of here with that kind of glass fog smoke effect that you've seen done 100 times before, I imagine, by this point. But we never really got to make this into what it had the potential to be. And I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets from this season, is not working on this place a little bit more and making it into what it could have been. But no worries, because I'm still pretty happy with some of the other stuff we've done on this server, and I imagine we will have the chance to make up for that once we reset the server for 1.13, and I have a feeling that we will make 1.13 a really special series of Decidedly Vanilla, because there's so much new stuff to explore, new stuff to uncover, tons of cool stuff to do. I hope you guys are excited as I am, because, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time for Minecraft. I have a feeling. So we're coming up to the end of the line here. We can hop through this portal, or even the next portal if we wanted to, but this is going to lead us to my jungle base. And this place is genuinely a thing I'm really, really happy with. From the minute you step out of the Nether portal, you see so much stuff that I've been working on, and the Shipwreck is probably my pride and joy. Out of all of the things I've built on this season of Decidedly Vanilla, I am probably the happiest with this, because if you look at it from above, it just looks like a shipwreck. It looks like a ship that has sat there and decayed for a long, long time, that has broken apart into the water. Bits of it have fallen apart, bits of it are overgrown with vines and moss and leaves, and it just fits in super well. And of all the things I built in Minecraft in general, I think this is one of the things I am proudest of, and I've said that over multiple seasons of Decidedly Vanilla, which is great as far as I'm concerned, because it just means that my ability in this game is growing. It just means that I'm constantly surprising myself with the stuff I can do. That's what I want from this, if anything, is just to be able to develop my creativity in this game and improve all the dang time. What just hit me? Did I just suffocate in a block or something? I have no idea. Bits of this jungle are still very dangerous, but we will get to that through this cave over here. Originally, I was hopping my way over the hill until I built this little kind of cave tunnel through. And underneath here, we have one of my other favorite things about this server, my technical accomplishment, I think, for this server. This down here is the Clover, which is my triple spawner zombie farm. And I absolutely loved the location of this, the fact that we could make it underneath the jungle, the fact that you had 3 spawners that all worked if you were standing in this little 3x3 area here. We've got a villager down here for trading zombie flesh. This is Desmond. He has been here since probably episode 4 or 5, I think. Got a little auto smelter over here. And this thing is called the Clover because it has these kind of 3 different chambers and the central stem sort of section here. And it's also kind of a reference to Lost in a sort of, abstract way. I wanted this to feel like one of the research stations that they find in Lost, in the TV series Lost, where all of this stuff is just buried underneath the jungle. It's all these old scientific research facilities from the 60s. The kind of thing that the survivors of this place did not expect to find, but they just sort of stumbled upon. And this is my technical pride and joy. It is 3 zombie spawners all coming down into a single thing, all still using the fantastic mob sorting mechanism that Derp Crafter designed, the mob softener. And this whole thing has just been so useful day to day. Like, I've gotten so much experience from this thing. I've got so many enchanted items and books from this thing. It's been so fantastic having this on the doorstep of my base from more or less day one. And I really hope we can find something like that on the new season, because in this season we had customized terrain in as much as we had a customized dungeon count, and like I said, we raised the sea level and done a little bit of stuff with the land. But that is going away for 1.13 because the world customization is different in 1.13. You don't have the range of customization options in the full release of 1.13 as far as we know that we had in 1.12 and earlier. So it's going to be different. We're not going to be able to find as many spawners clustered together. The custom terrain is going to look a little different. In fact, we're probably not going to use a custom terrain at all. It's going to be default all the way. So we'll see how we handle that. But anyway, this right here is a jungle temple that I used as my sort of staging area for a while, and it's still got a few chests with bits and pieces of stuff in here, a bed that I've constantly used to sleep basically since I moved in here, and a little bit of an enchanting setup up there and that kind of thing. But then that leads through down the bottom of here, and I always meant to use the bottom of the jungle temple for something, but I never really did anything about that. Instead, we built our way through here, and I set up this place. And this also, as with the Shipwreck, this is kind of my pride and joy. This temple that I built out here out of sandstone and lapis and blue concrete, some of my favorite blocks that I've kind of gotten to grips with. This is my base temple, and this thing sort of came together in the middle of the season, I suppose, but I'm really happy with how it came out. I love the style of it. I would love to build with this kind of style again, but I have a feeling I'm not going to be setting up in a jungle biome next season. I have a couple of plans for that already. But yeah, this was a fantastic base. It's got so much space in it. It's got storage for basically all of the stuff I needed, and I had started working on sorting out some of the other storage. I had a bit of a smelting setup here, a smelting setup here, and I was just about to turn this into a place to store all of the spare armor and weapons and tools and that kind of stuff that I had collected throughout the season, but as you can see, it never really came to a huge amount because I sort of burnt out a little bit on Minecraft waiting for 1.13 to come out and was too busy pursuing other projects, other video making things and streaming and that kind of stuff. So I never quite got around to finishing some of this. But the other storage areas around here are a little bit more complete. We've got a full selection of woods and stuff over here. This section over here has so much stone and gravel and that kind of stuff. We've got some clay here. We've got some prismarine. We've got all of the colored blocks, all of the kind of concrete and occasionally stained glass and stained clay that I was using to build stuff around here. We managed to get a lot of stuff collected in this temple, and there's even a lot of stuff up on the next level as well, which you can get to using these slime block things, which actually seem to be working for once, thank goodness. There's even like natural resources and stuff in here, stuff that I've been using to shape the jungle around me. And speaking of shaping the jungle, I also created this idea. This idea I kind of had from the beginning was that we would have these robot dinosaurs that kind of are the caretakers of this area. This one in particular, which I've been calling Nessie since time immemorial, and hello skeleton, you can stay there. You're far enough away that you're not going to spot me. Nessie is the one that kind of makes sure the lake stays unpolluted, kind of cleans up the water. And over here, this is one of my favorite aesthetic touches for the jungle. Out this way, there's this kind of area where all this algae has built up on the surface of the water, and you can expect me to do more stuff like this when we get around to Minecraft 1.13, because the way that they've changed some of the way blocks work means that you're not going to get these unsightly kind of lines on the edges, these kind of blue walls that appear around the edges of blocks. Now that blocks can be waterlogged, that's no longer going to happen, so we should hopefully be able to do much more interesting effects with stuff like that. This was almost like a kind of testing ground for ideas like that, and it's going to be wonderful seeing those in action. And seeing kelp and seagrass growing up around here as well, that would be amazing for 1.13, but we're going to try and do our best with the new projects that we're going to take on over there. And speaking of new projects, this was a relatively new addition to this area. As time went on, I decided to develop the area around the temple into something of a settlement, into something a little bit more resembling a forgotten city. And I'd started a few builds over here, even got a couple of them sort of done, but I never really fully realized my vision for this place. I feel like this temple is still kind of nice. It's still nice and open, but didn't quite finish the structure on the top of there. Sort of ran out of ideas for that one. But this is supposed to be a temple to the sun in a way. It's got the kind of sun mural over the top archway there, and it's got all of the sun kind of patterns in the terracotta around the outside. A little bit of an altar, some seats, that kind of thing. I thought this was decent for what it was. I think it came together quite well. And once again, like the color palette with the cyan concrete powder and the sandstone, I thought worked really well. So might end up doing a little bit more with that in future. You never know. Yep, a couple of other houses around here that the interiors never got done, but the exteriors I still think look quite nice. And there was a little bit of work to be done down here with the landscape, kind of moving out some of the jungle trees to make way for custom trees, stuff like that. But I think this is all in all not a bad attempt at something that could have been a lot better if I'd spent a lot more time on it. But as we know, time is always of the essence. Time is always ticking away from us. And I just had other stuff that I wanted to concentrate on here and there, some other stuff I wanted to do with my YouTube channel, and Minecraft was just feeling a little bit burnt out by this point. Some other times I started to create some jungle pathways going on through here, and this actually eventually leads over to where my villager trading area is, which is another thing I was super happy with from this season. This bit leads down into a cave, this bit over here leads around the bay, and I was quite happy with this path, how this came together as well. There's lots of ferns everywhere, lots of mushrooms growing on the trees, this little kind of lagoon section here. And up here, as we come into here, you can see the tracks and stuff are still here from the villager breeder, and I never quite finished moving my favorite villagers down into this area, but we've got farmers to trade with, we've got blacksmiths, weaponsmiths, we've got librarians and priests and all kinds of people here. There's still a couple of empty spots around here, but I really like the way this came together, this kind of skeleton design. Once again, the dinosaur kind of theme coming through a little bit. Hey! Okay, the skeleton in the water has spotted me now. Hi, friend. Prepare to die. Say your last words. See you in the update aquatic, you fiend. So here we are over at the skeleton thing. We've done a little bit of the cliff terraforming over here that we've done on the opposite side of the lake as well. And I might do a little bit more terraforming. I was really getting into my terraforming mojo during this season, so hopefully we can do a little bit more of that once the update aquatic arrives. And as you'll see on the other side, that cliff over there really came together very well. I was really happy with how that turned out. So yeah, we'll see. Well, maybe we'll incorporate a little bit more stuff like that, a little bit more of the diorite stratification of that cliff. That's one of the things I was the most happy with, I think, from that cliff in general. And of course, up there in the sky is the villager breeder that I've been using to supply villagers to this area. And a couple of them are a little bit more free roaming, but they seem to want to hang out. The two librarians seem to have a bit of a conversation going, and none of them have been eaten by zombies yet. So there you go. I reckon that'll be fine for now. Over there in the distance, we have my crop farm. That's my big wheat field, and that was kind of a tiered mountain-style farm that I would love to have terraformed a little bit more, but that was going to be so much effort to do. I kind of imagined it being like one of those hilltop farms that you see in Asian countries where they kind of grow rice and other grains and stuff on the side of these giant hills. Sadly, that never really took the form I expected it to, but I'm still pretty happy with how it turned out. It's still kind of cool to have this nice mountain plateau kind of situation going on over here, and maybe that would have worked better as something other than a wheat field. I'm not sure. But we'll try and do something similar like that maybe when we get to some of the more extreme terrain in Minecraft 1.13. Now, the other things you can see from up here in the sky are one of my favorite concepts from this entire series, really, was these obelisks. And this kind of, it didn't really come before my adventures into Pixark, but I always liked the symbolism, the kind of the idea of having these giant obelisks in the sky from Ark Survival Evolved, just having these giant things floating there, seemingly alien technology, so full of mystery and so full of color as well. That's the cool thing about the ones in Ark, is they have these giant beams of light coming out of them, and it adds an interesting touch of color to the area. So we started off with this redstone one over here, and I decided I would do one for each of the kind of more rare ore blocks in the game, which meant the diamond one would come soon after that. We have the gold one over there and the emerald ore one over there, which, like I said before, emerald ore, one of my favorite blocks in the game, and I was really happy with how these 4 beacons came out. And eventually, in the lore of this place, I decided that they each had a bit of a function. So the red one over there was going to be controlling the dinosaurs and kind of beaming information to them. The diamond and ice one over there was going to be more to do with controlling the weather. This green one up here, of course, was to do with nature and controlling the growth of plants in the area. And the yellow one was to do with time, and that was maybe why some of these ruins and stuff had been preserved and some others had been completely forgotten. And so I think as a concept, like this base eventually just turned into, what do I think looks cool in a jungle? Let me build that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have like an overarching theme the way I originally thought. Like, I originally thought that a lot more of these dinosaur guys were going to pop up everywhere in the jungle, and it was going to be like Horizon Zero Dawn, where there are just these robot dinosaurs almost everywhere. And in the end, I only ended up building a couple of them because I was so taken with these other ideas I had for projects, other things I wanted to do, that I figured, you know what, I may as well just build whatever I think looks good. And I'm kind of keen on that. I don't really regret doing that, because it's meant I've managed to get a little bit more stuff built than I originally thought. Like the dinosaur idea might not have had as much legs as I originally thought it did, and instead we can move on to building stuff like structures, building these temples, not working so much in this sort of bio-organic kind of mechanical sort of way, and instead working on some structures, working on something that looks a little bit more human and a little bit more alien, like these kind of things. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me build this base over the last 40 or so episodes. There's a couple of other things we've worked on recently around the server, which I'm not going to show in this video because I'm sort of running out of time for this, and I want to I'm actually checking the 1.13 kind of updates on my laptop just to see if anything has come out from that yet, because I am so excited for 1.13. I cannot tell you enough how much I want to get into that update and start building something new. I'm really looking forward to a fresh start for Decidedly Vanilla, because sections of this season just kind of got a little bit stale, I guess. Like we all wanted something new. We were all craving some kind of change by the end. And now that change is finally upon us and the sun is setting over Decidedly Vanilla. I think this is probably a good time to say goodbye to you all and goodbye to this series. So thank you so much for being a part of this season of Decidedly Vanilla. My name has been Pixlriffs. I will see you in Decidedly Vanilla Season 5. I cannot believe we're on our 5th season of this server right now. It's pretty crazy. But as always, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this series as a whole. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, because oh boy, there's going to be some cool stuff happening in the weeks and months to come. I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.